Welcome to my podcast. In this podcast, I'm going to talk about, from my perspective, the Hurricane Helene relief efforts in Appalachia. Now, I know there is a ton of rumors and there's a ton of misinformation everywhere about the relief efforts. What I'm going to do is just show you my perspective, what I've seen and what I've heard about the relief efforts. Now, like I said, just take it with a grain of salt. Even what I say may not be true. As of now, FEMA has started coming into the area to help supply people and direct the operations. They've done this before in the past with other hurricanes, and people have said that they've done bad jobs. Some people have said they've done good jobs. We know what happened with Katrina. They came in kind of late. They were like 4 or 5 days late or something. I don't remember specifics, but I do know FEMA coming into our area, or at least into Appalachia, they're a few days behind. There were already supplies being handed out through a private helicopter army, pretty much. And things were rolling. And then some of the rumors started where they were kind of blocking the relief efforts or even putting up barriers or doing other stuff like that, like confiscating supplies. And like you, I saw this stuff and I'm like, I can't really prove any of this because I'm not actually there, but I've heard of similar things happening in previous hurricanes in other areas where people got frustrated and ended up just going through the roadblocks and just continuing to try to get people supplies. And there's even been, people talking about where they weren't getting supplies. People weren't getting supplies until the locals once again went past FEMA to give them supplies. Now, like I said, this is all hearsay, pretty much. However, this became real to me just yesterday. I have a buddy, I'm not going to mention his name, but I did not realize that he was actually doing supply runs to Appalachia and pretty much doing it on a daily basis. His church was gathering up all kinds of supplies, putting it into his truck, and he was delivering them as far as he could drive. He would go as far as he could go and then stop at the local churches or local firehouses or even just giving it to, people in the area that needed these supplies until FEMA arrived. And he went, his last supply run got confiscated by FEMA. And he even told me that there were rumors that they took those supplies and others and sent them to Florida. Now, yes, Florida needs help too. This Hurricane Helene, left a swath of problems all the way from the panhandle in Florida through Georgia, through South Carolina, through North Carolina, hitting the Appalachian region the hardest. And now FEMA's there, messing things up from what I've been told. He stopped doing it basically because it just got too chaotic because they have arrived. Now, I've read also, these are rumors, that some of the local sheriffs have threatened to arrest these federal officers for getting in the way of the relief efforts. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if any have actually been arrested or not. If you actually have seen or heard of a federal agent getting arrested by a local sheriff, please let me know in the comments below. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. My buddy who has been doing this, I can vouch for him. He would never lie. He would never make any kind of, he won't. This is the type of person that just ignores the internet and just helps. Just like my cat, jumping into my podcast whenever she can. And he wouldn't lie about something like this, that his stuff was confiscated by FEMA. So you just have to go based on me saying that I trust him. I'm not going to give a name out, obviously. I'm just going to just leave it as is, that he was, this happened. And it, for me, made things real after I talked to him about it. Now, I am hoping things are getting more organized up there, because another buddy of mine was actually able to go up there yesterday, which was Saturday, to help with cutting trees down and opening up roads and helping people out by just getting trees out of the way. He took a army of lumberjacks up there, and I mean, he lives right down the road from me, so 130 miles, 150 miles. He drove 130 to 150 miles to Appalachia to help with the efforts. And I talked to him on the phone today, where he found a place where it barely had a reception, and I was able to get a hold of him. And he said they haven't like hampered his work up there, that he's out there helping cut down trees and stuff. So it sounds like now everybody's getting along. But when they first came in there, it did cause a little bit of chaos. Now, I will admit, I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was not affected by this pretty much at all. The only thing that affects me is the Tennessee River is, uh, really bad. It's got high flow. There is tons of garbage on it. I actually did get to fish a couple of times in the high current, in the debris. So those videos will be in the future for you guys to watch. My cat is always trying to get into the podcast. All right, you can get down now. Anyway, now that I've lost my track of thought here, I do have a couple of fishing videos coming up where we're catching some good fish in this current. But for the most part, there's so much debris out there. Like Douglas Lake is just full of wood. And from what I'm told by another buddy, that there's a place in Upper Douglas that's not just wood. It is campers, it's semis, it's buses, it's cars, it's entire homes, it's buildings just piled up in one area. And I'm quite sure there's other things that you definitely don't want to run into on the water there. It's a mess. I do know that TVA, I think it was TVA, put out like a mile long boom to help stop some of this wood, and they're working their hardest to get it out of the water. But a lot of it is still going downstream. It's going through Douglas Dam, it's going through Fort Loudon Dam. I was on Fort Loudon Lake, and I tried fishing like right on the side of the heavy current, and I had to have my pole out, and I had to move entire trees out of the way from hitting my trolling motor. It's not a good time to be on the water around here at all. Thankfully, the cove was wide open, and I caught a really good fish. That's probably going to be 2 weeks from now. Before that, I was on Watts Bar, and Watts Bar is, or was, kind of clear. I'm quite sure by now it's not clear anymore. There's going to be a ton of wood going through Watts Bar. And it's going to hit Watts Bar Dam and then go through Watts Bar Dam and continue on downriver. They're not really trying to pull the wood out of Watts Bar or Fort Loudon, but they are trying to get it out of Douglas, which is basically how I'm impacted locally. Now, Newport is the closest place that got flooded really bad, and around Newport is some of my fishing spots. It is 100 miles away, and I used this, this poll I did a while back. I made a poll asking if 100 miles was considered long range for most people. And it wasn't for what I've used it before in the past, and that poll wasn't for this, but I'm going to use it as an example of this. A lot of people do not think 100 miles is long range. Well, Newport's 100 miles away. Appalachia, 130, 150 miles away from me. I'm basically local to that in their eyes. And I'm quite sure a lot of the people there, especially in Appalachia, would rather have me bringing them water like I did than to have like FEMA come in there and bring them water. And that's what's been happening. We've been helping them the best we can. At least me and some of the friends that I know have been going up there to help them. And there's, a lot of good happening during this incredibly catastrophic, tragic event. I mean, some people's homes are gone, completely gone. It is what I showed in that video, my last video about this, was nothing compared to what they've lost up there. Now, I would have some more pictures and maybe even some videos for you guys, but I don't have them right now. My buddy Ty, the one who was flying the airplane for search and rescue reconnaissance, he has more pictures and more videos. And he told me that he's so busy, he's not going to be able to do anything with that, with the videos or the pictures. So he's going to give them to me so I can publish them for you guys to see. I don't know when that's going to happen. Um, and I don't know how he's going to get them to me. I may have to go up to his place and bring like a USB stick or something and, get the videos and get the pictures. And then I might do another podcast specifically just to reflect on, what Hurricane Helene did to that area. So just stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'm a fishing channel, and this pretty much 99% was not about fishing. This affects me only at a few fishing spots and that my local rivers are almost unfishable right now. That's all it affects me as, which is nothing compared to what happened up there. People's lives completely destroyed. I will try to get the videos and pictures when I can, if I can. Now, as always, I want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to watch or listen to this podcast. I really, really appreciate it. I do hope things start normalizing soon, and I do understand that, for the survivors, normal is going to be a long time from now. Bear with me in this time of need and keep all these people in your thoughts. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you next time.